Imagine you could build the ultimate metabolic superpower, a tool giving you unparalleled real-time resolution into your performance, health, and metabolism. 24/7 access to instantly track and manipulate metabolic pathways. Imagine seeing exactly how every meal, every workout, and even a bad night's sleep alters your metabolism in a precise, dose-dependent way. What if I told you this tool already exists? And no, it's not an Oura ring or a continuous glucose monitor. It might sound like sci-fi superpowers, but I live it every day. I'm Dr. Andrew Koutnik, a biomedical researcher, elite performance coach, and I've lived with type 1 diabetes for over 17 years. In this video, I'll show you how a tool, once considered a death sentence, is our ultimate metabolic superpower. How you can both harness and learn from this superpower to optimize your performance and health. In science, one of the best ways to learn how something works is to see what happens when it's missing. For example, the famous case of Phineas Gage, who survived a frontal lobe brain injury, was one of the first clues that damage to the frontal lobe can drastically alter your personality. Similarly, nature has given us an experiment in metabolism, the human insulin knockout model. Type 1 diabetes. People with type 1 diabetes don't produce insulin. So we witness firsthand what this crucial hormone really does, how to alter it to impact our health and performance. Before insulin was discovered, children lacked insulin, saw their bodies rapidly lose weight and shrink. Their bodies could not store nutrients in insulin's absence. Type 1 diabetes is where we first learn of insulin's function, its intimate relationship with blood glucose, how it controls fat and muscle tissue size. Each dose of insulin rapidly shuts down signals in muscle and fat and turns on mechanisms of growth. Type 1 diabetes taught us over 100 years ago that insulin was the master regulator of metabolism, controlling all major nutrients and orchestrating metabolic communication between organs. But this isn't the only thing type 1 diabetes has taught us. It wasn't shortly after we discovered insulin that we discovered quickly and how food has the greatest impact on circulating glucose levels and how exercise alters insulin sensitivity, since we could see it in real time. For example, over a century before the first report demonstrated that nutrition could reduce seizures and epilepsy, it had already been used for type 1 diabetes for over a century to control and manage blood sugar levels and extend the lives of patients living with this disease. Before we knew what ketones were or how they were produced, we learned of the intimate relationship between insulin and ketone production, as we learned that an imbalance could be fatal. Type 1 diabetes consistently serves as the frontline metabolic discovery, often decades, sometimes centuries, before insights hit academic journals or social media. Even more astonishing, before the ketogenic diets were famously used to treat epilepsy, it was already being utilized in type 1 diabetes for over a century to manage glucose levels and extend the lives of patients with type 1 diabetes. Today, type 1 diabetes remains uniquely powerful. While most people guess how much insulin their body releases, how sensitive they are to insulin, those of us with type 1 diabetes live these realities 24/7. We manually administer insulin, continuously providing constant insight into our metabolisms. We know precisely how food composition, with even identical calories, can dramatically alter insulin demands. We experience firsthand how exercise, type, duration, and intensity, even sleep or stress, profoundly change insulin sensitivity throughout the day, often decades before it's published in research journals. Consider this. Mainstream science recently embraced how sleep patterns and circadian rhythms influence insulin sensitivity. But people with type 1 diabetes could have shared this insight decades ago, as we observed how insulin requirements and glucose change consistently up and down from sunup to sundown. We didn't have a choice. We had to master these metabolic dynamics not just to survive, but to thrive. Every moment, we know exactly how much insulin is in our bodies. A profound insight unmatched by any other tool or condition, something everyone can learn from. Daily insulin dosages reveal our insulin sensitivity status, metabolic health, and how our lifestyle precisely influences our metabolic pathways. People with type 1 diabetes are not passively observing these processes, they are living it every day. Type 1 diabetes isn't just a condition, it's a superpower that teaches us exactly how nutrition, exercise, sleep, and lifestyle choices shape metabolism. Here's a powerful example. Ever wonder how two different foods with identical calories, fat, protein, and carbohydrates, make you feel completely different? Why one makes you feel energetic while the other makes you feel sluggish? Type 1 diabetes provides the answer. Let's dive in. Here's where the superpower gets interesting. Food can't keep secrets from someone with type 1 diabetes. Eat a zero sugar labeled snack. People with type 1 diabetes will see exactly what it does to blood glucose. Often those sugar-free foods that you think are healthy still cause a big spike because starches or sugar alcohol are covertly doing the damage. The big difference is if you don't have diabetes, your body's insulin response might keep your blood sugar steady. But behind the scenes, unaware that your pancreas is working overtime, when you are a human insulin knockout model, you see both sides of the equation. With type 1 diabetes, every gram carbohydrates, fat, and protein consumed demands a precise, calculated dose of insulin. If a meal makes my blood glucose skyrocket, it needs a huge insulin dose. That's a red flag about the true metabolic impact of that meal. Take these two foods with the same calories, protein, fat, and carbohydrates. One spikes my glucose 100 milligrams per deciliter and increases my insulin requirements 300%, while the other doesn't move my glucose or insulin at all. While most are blind to these metabolic consequences of these different foods, we all can learn from type 1 diabetes, the superpower, which removes the blinders and shows the clear impact of food. This is a crucial insight for everyone. Many people with normal blood glucose may actually be experiencing chronically high insulin levels to keep that sugar check. In fact, research shows that elevated insulin often appears years before blood glucose problems, essentially diabetes in disguise, that standard tests miss. But people with type 1 diabetes, they can't miss it. We see our insulin needs rise immediately when something's off at every meal of every day. In short, type 1 diabetes exposes the real effect of foods on our metabolism. It's like X-ray vision for nutrition. No food level or fad diet claim can fool what my glucose meter and insulin requirements reveal. And for those without type 1 diabetes, if you pay attention, you can learn too. How does this all apply when you mix all these factors together in real life? Exercise, sleep, medications, illness, time of day. Well, I'll show you. Metabolism isn't just about food. It's a dynamic, interactive puzzle involving exercise, sleep, stress, and more. This is where living with type 1 diabetes feels like having a cheat code for human performance. For example, when I do a workout, I can watch my blood sugar rapidly change and I learn quickly how insulin sensitivity soars afterwards. A poor night's sleep, my glucose runs higher, and the next day, I need more insulin to compensate. A vivid lesson in even how one night of sleep loss can make you more insulin resistant. With type 1 diabetes, minute by minute monitoring, I can literally see the fingerprint of each lifestyle choice, a stressful meeting, a heavy deadlift session, even a cup of coffee. It's all visible on my glucose graph and managed with precise insulin adjustments in real time. This superpower doesn't just help me manage diabetes, it gives me and the athletes with type 1 diabetes that I coach an edge in optimizing health and performance. The rest of the world is catching on. Even Olympic athletes are wearing continuous glucose monitors to fine tune their training and nutrition. But for us with type 1 diabetes, this isn't a trendy biohack. It's our everyday life. And when we couple these with insulin, our ability to manage it minute by minute, but monitor it 24/7, we unlock the full picture of metabolism. We're harnessing tools and insights that can benefit everyone. The human insulin knockout model, type 1 diabetes, paradoxically gives unparalleled feedback and control over our metabolism, turning a once devastating disease into a framework for insight and thriving. Type 1 diabetes has taught me that knowledge is power, metabolic power. By peering into the body's inner workings 24/7, you can gain unique understanding on how to optimize diet, exercise, and lifestyle for peak performance. My mission is to share these insights with you, translating complex science into practical tips so you can apply them to your own life. If you found this perspective valuable, whether you're living with type 1 diabetes or just looking to upgrade your health, then join me. Follow my journey at andrewkoutnik.com, and also Max Domi and I's discussion, where we dive into these topics on In Range podcasts. Subscribe for more videos. Together, we'll continue to explore cutting-edge research from collaborators at Harvard and Johns Hopkins, coupled with real-world self-experimentation to demystify metabolism and help you unleash your best self. Don't just manage your metabolism, master it. Subscribe now, become part of our community, unlocking their superpower.